You didn't see this one coming, did you?
3 desserts that will take you straight
to your childhood through your taste buds. Oh, such delicious memories.
Hello, sweet tooths. For me, today's 3 desserts take me straight back to my childhood. So I'm gonna bring you 3 amazing desserts that bring back great memories. And while we're at it, start thinking. When you think about your childhood, what desserts do you remember? Start with this wonderful grandma's cake. If decorated well, it looks amazing. Let's get to the recipe. First, put the eggs together with the sugar in a large bowl and beat everything very well. If you have an electric whisk, that's even better, because we're gonna beat it enough so everything is well combined. Also, you'll notice that it will double in volume and have a whitish color like this and become completely foamy. We'll use half a liter of milk. If you have a full liter, use it. If not, just use half. With half a liter of cold milk, we're going to add the cornstarch in this container, for example. Why? Well, because that way, it dissolves much faster. So, cold milk plus cornstarch. Stir it with a fork until there are no lumps. Then we add this half liter of milk with cornstarch to the mixture we had of egg and sugar. Also, now we're going to add the rest of the milk, the other liter. In it goes. We're also going to give it an extra touch of flavor with a bit of vanilla essence, also called vanilla extract or vanilla aroma. Well, whatever you have that gives it that interesting vanilla flavor that's in almost every dessert. And with the help of the same beaters, we mix everything very well again. Make sure all the ingredients are perfectly combined. Then we put this mixture over medium heat and keep it in the pot until it has So you have to keep stirring it for a few minutes. This doesn't get done in 30 seconds. It takes minutes to achieve a texture like the one you see here. Don't worry if there are a few lumps left. They will disappear once the cake cools down. So the key is to keep stirring and stirring until you get this texture. At first, it's all liquid and feels like no progress is being made. And suddenly, in a very short time, rash densa, very quickly. When you have it like this, what you're going to do is transfer it directly to another container, about a third of the cream. Because that's the third we're going to add cocoa to and turn into the chocolate cream layer. We'll have cookie, cream layer, cookie, chocolate cream layer, cookie, cream layer. Oh my. And decorated on top, it's gonna be spectacular. To this third of still warm cream, we add a bit of butter. We're going to stir until that butter melts from the heat the cream has right now. Once it's fully mixed in, we also add the cocoa powder right in there. And same thing, stir until everything has a uniform texture. And you can't eat it yet, because I assure you, as it starts mixing, you'll really want to. Once you have it really well mixed, it'll be time to start assembling the cake. So, start stirring slowly at first with folding motions so the moisture from the cream absorbs the cocoa, and then go all out. Look, we're almost there. An impressive chocolate pastry cream. Now, let's fill the mold. As you can see, I've lined it with plastic wrap or cling film. And what we'll do is place a few cookies at the bottom. I'm going to use these square ones because I think they'll fit more easily. You need to fill the entire bottom well, even the corners, with pieces of cookie. We add half of the cream we had left. And with the help of a spatula or the back of a spoon, we're gonna adjust it so that there's an even layer covering the entire mold. Then, as you can see, it's perfect. Here's what we'll do next. Cookie layer. So let's place the cookies one by one like before. Enough to cover the whole surface and also the little holes in the corners. See, that's perfect. Press the cookies down a little, and now it's time for the chocolate layer. Here we have the cream. We're going to pour it over these cookies, just like before. What we'll do is as simple as spreading it out well. just like with this type of cake. Here, the important thing is that the trick is very simple. You just need the cookie layer to be even, as you can see here. That's right, we place a flat layer of cookies that covers the entire surface and make sure it's even. And then we pour the rest of the cream on top. There you have it. 1/3 vanilla cream, 1/3 chocolate cream, and now the last part. Well, once we have it ready, we're gonna put it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. In the meantime, or after that time, we can work on the chocolate cream that we're going to make for the topping. In this case, it's as simple as putting the cream in a large container in the microwave on medium power for a minute or two. When we notice that it's hot enough, just before it starts to boil, we're going to take it out. We put the finely chopped chocolate on top, and the heat will make it melt. If you want, optionally, you can add a splash of vanilla extract, which always goes great with chocolate. And now, stir everything together. After about a minute, start stirring, and you'll see the chocolate begin to melt. If this process doesn't work for you, you can put it back in the microwave to heat the mixture a bit more. In the end, you get a shiny chocolate cream like the one you see here. Look at that! Oh my goodness, it almost makes you want to dive right in, doesn't it? All right, we take the cake that we had in the fridge or refrigerator, which should be completely set by now. And out it goes. I always like to prepare it the day before, and I do this decoration afterwards. But if you want, a couple of hours in the fridge is enough. Just remove it from the mold. Thanks to the plastic wrap, it'll come out perfect with a smooth side. Come on, let's remove the plastic wrap and the mold, which is always a bit harder with these squares. And we're going to transfer it to a rack. In this case, I have a silicone mat underneath to catch any chocolate that falls. Look, we moved the plastic aside a bit, and what we do is pour chocolate on top. I recommend doing it little by little. Add a bit, spread it, add a bit more. That way, you'll control the layer and make sure it reaches every corner. The important thing is for the layer to be even, so we control and smooth it out. And then we also paint the sides with the help of the back of a spoon. It's that simple. The chocolate will stick because it's really sticky, and I'm gonna take advantage of that to decorate. I bought some cool cookies with something drawn in chocolate to give today's cake that extra touch. I'm gonna use it for a special family member's birthday. All right, let's place the cookies. Thanks to the chocolate, they'll stick. We have cookies, and you see, the cake ends up looking like it's in a basket of cookies. Since I'm being decorative, I'll add an extra touch. By adding a few drops of condensed milk, you can use any liquid that's sweet and white, or for example, melted white chocolate so that it's liquid. I used condensed milk because I had it, and it seemed easiest. It's optional and just decorative, but I think it looks nice. You put a few drops like this, a bit randomly, and with the help of a small knife or a toothpick, you swirl it around a few times and create a pretty design like the one you see here. We give it that professional touch with very little effort, which is what it's all about. And that's it. We have an amazing grandma's cake, and it's beautiful too. Now I'm going to show you the inside because you won't believe it. It's perfect. Let's do it. We cut a slice, and now we're going to take it out so you can see it. As I always say, it's the best. Inside, look at those perfect layers. Vanilla, cookie, chocolate, more cookie, and more vanilla. So many delicious flavors. It looks so good, really tasty. Enjoy it. Although what comes to my mind even more is one that was made with carrot and coconut. Incredible, super easy, super moist, and you can even make it with kids. We'll begin by preparing the carrots, starting with peeling them. As you may have seen in more of my videos, I use a peeler for this. But if you don't have one, or don't like it, you can easily do it with a knife. Once we finish peeling them, we cut off the bottom and the top end, since those parts are always a bit tougher. After this, what we'll do is chop them into small cubes, so it's easier to work with later and cooks faster. Very good. Once it's chopped, we place a pot over medium heat. And what we'll do is put the pumpkin cubes inside. It's as simple as that. Once we have them, we add enough water to cover them so the pumpkin floats. And then what we'll do is cook until this comes to a boil. So let's let the magic happen. And once it comes to a boil, once it starts boiling, it will be time to count 12 minutes from when it starts boiling. Boil for 12 minutes. After that time, look, the carrot is already soft, so it's perfect to work with. Because what we're gonna do is mash it. So let's grab the jar from our hand blender or food processor, whatever you call it, and let's get to it right away. If you don't have one of these hand blenders, you can easily do it in a regular blender or a juicer. The point is to have a soft puree. Once we have the puree ready, what we'll do is start adding ingredients. We start with the vanilla. In it goes. We're also going to add the shredded coconut now. In that goes as well. There it is. It's important that your jar is big enough. If it's not, you'll have to do it in stages or use a bigger container. Once we've added the coconut and mixed it with the vanilla, we stir it a little bit, as you just saw, and then we add the sugar as well. Give it a few stirs so everything gets mixed together. This is done very quickly thanks to the fact that the pumpkin is still hot and makes all the ingredients melt much faster. Once the sugar's mixed in, let's add the ground almonds. There we have it. All right, the filling is almost ready. We just added the ground almonds, and with the same little machine, we're gonna mix it as well. It's important to do this, as I mentioned, with the pumpkin nice and hot, and the ingredients in the right order. That way it mixes much faster. Once we have the filling ready, let's see how we put it all together. First, if you're using Sobaus, which is the best option, or at least what I like the most, you need to remove the little paper. But you can use any type of soft sponge cake like this, you see? If you can't find them, you can take muffins and cut them to about that thickness. Once we have the sponge cakes, Sobaus, or muffins ready, we're going to take the mold we're going to use. This is a 23 centimeter diameter mold with a silicone side. If it's not made of silicone, you need to put parchment paper or plastic wrap on it so it doesn't stick. Pay attention, this is important. You have to cover all the little gaps with your cake base, in this case, made with Sobaus. You need to cover well and fill any holes that are left. As you can see, with little pieces, you fix it until everything is even. That's right, we cover the entire base of our cake with these little sponge cakes. And now we're gonna soak it with a little bit of milk. If you want, you can give it even more flavor by adding a splash of vanilla to this milk as well. Since I love it, I always do it, but this is totally optional. A splash of vanilla, give it a stir. And let's moisten the sponge cakes spoonful by spoonful. I usually put 1 or 2 coffee spoons on each sponge cake. That way I know it soaks in, but I still have enough consistency left. So let's keep adding, as you can see here. It's important to go in order, because if you don't, you'll get lost and won't know which one is soaked and which one isn't. At least that's what happens to me. Then we're going to add the filling here. In it goes. See? About half of the amount we had prepared. And then we spread it out so that we get an even layer. You can do this with a spatula or the back of a spoon. The point is to get a smooth, even layer. Then we cover it again with Sobaus. Sponge cakes, or like I said, cut up muffins, more or less at this height. We cover everything well and fill all the gaps with pieces so that it's an even, absorbent sponge cake surface. Alright, now we've got everything nicely covered. We take the rest of the milk we had, and soak it well. In this case, if we soak it a little more, it's fine, because this won't be the bottom part of the cake. This can be juicier, and that's okay. So we can soak it as much as we want. Let's go quickly. We spread it out really well, and when we think it's moist enough, we add the rest of the filling. There we have it. I'm telling you, it's about half of what we prepared. The first layer with one half, and this one with the other. This is how it looks, see? Now we're gonna let it cool down. We'll put it in the fridge so it sets and hardens a bit. Also, the flavors will come together and it'll be perfect. In this process, we'll need to leave it here for at least 4 hours. After that time, we can take out our cake and move on. Next, decorate and unmold. Use your imagination to create whatever you like. I'm gonna add what my grandmother used to do, a true classic. Sprinkle enough shredded coconut on top so that the entire surface is covered. And if you have any spots with a little mound, you can even it out with a spoon. And now, I'm going to show you how it looks. Let's unmold it. I'm telling you, this is an important step. And thanks to the silicone, it turns out great. But instead of this, you can use acetate paper or parchment paper, even plastic wrap, and you'll get the same effect. Once you unmold it, use a spatula to smooth it out and get a much more professional finish. As you saw, it required no effort. Really good. Now what I thought of is to give it a little touch with some small mini carrots that I had handy. And now to show you the important part. Like I always tell you, just like with people, the most important thing is what's inside. And now I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut a good portion. There it is. And I'm sure that inside it's just as appetizing as this side we're looking at. Look, we slide in the serving spatula, and here we have the cut. Impressive. Sponge cake, cream, flavor, color. We've got it all. How good, how soaked, how juicy, and how great it looks. Finally, a classic that we have very often in my hometown. And there's no grandma who doesn't make some good Frisuelos, which are like crepes, but even tastier. The recipe is really simple. We take a large bowl and pour in the milk, then add the eggs along with the sugar. Over here, perfect. And we're gonna whisk all of this quickly until it comes together into a completely uniform liquid. You see, today I'm not even turning on the mixer. You can do it by hand in no time. Once everything is mixed, we start adding the flour little by little, spoonful by spoonful, always whisking and adding. This way, everything comes together in just a minute. Come on, a little more, a little more. In my case, I'm using a flour that's quite fine. If you want to go even further, you can sift the flour beforehand. That way, you ensure there are no lumps. Come on, a little more. We've pretty much got all the flour mixed in now. And thanks to the fact that the liquid is moving all the time, it's going to absorb it in no time. All right, this part that's stuck to the plate, we're gonna scrape it off quickly like this. The last little tap to get it in. And like I said, a few turns until you have a smooth, and completely uniform liquid. All right, I think we've got it now. I'm gonna show you what the texture looks like. Start after a few turns, do you see? It turns out completely liquid and without any lumps. Now what we do is heat the pan with a little bit of oil. See, just a few drops, nothing more. We're gonna spread these drops a bit with a wooden spatula or a pastry scraper so they get distributed. And we'll set the heat to medium-high. More or less, if the scale goes from 0 to 10, set it to 7 or 7.5. Once the little bit of oil is hot, we add enough to cover the entire bottom of the pan. It's about a small drizzle, and you'll need to move the pan a bit so it covers the whole bottom. With that, we have the perfect amount. In about a minute or two, or a minute and a half, the bottom will be golden. We flip it over and brown the other side. This one takes a little less time, so it's usually ready in about a minute at most. You'll know because if you lift it a little from the side, you'll see it already has a toasted pattern. That means it's perfect. We take the pan and add it to our stack of Frisuelos, the next one as you can see. We sprinkle a little sugar on top of them. It's good to do it while they're hot with a spoon because that way the sugar sticks and melts into the Frisuelo itself, which always tastes delicious. And with the rest of the batter, we keep making more. The secret to making them perfect is to have patience. You have to fry them with very, very little oil. One side first for about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then we flip it over, another 30 seconds to a minute. And when you see that it's golden on both sides, it's ready. Remember not to put the pan on full heat. Keep it at about 7.5 out of 10. That's right. Here, the temperature of the pan is what determines if they turn out golden and perfect. Just a medium-high level, nothing more. And, well, as you can see, just repeat this process as many times as you have batter. It's that simple. In the end, you'll have your tray of Frisuelos looking as spectacular as the ones you're seeing here. I hope you like this recipe that my grandmother used to make as much as I do, because at home it was always a big hit. And now you're free to add sugar, to add fruit. I once knew a place that put flan and ice cream inside a giant pancake. Now you decide what you want to put in it. Of course, if you have any tasty ideas, even if they're a little crazy, tell me in the comments, because I'm happy to learn from you. Before you go, you can also watch the video here. Check out the little box. Doesn't it look good?